Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first game of Order of Darkness. Today, I am joined by James. Hello, James. How are
Hello.
you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, and you?
I'm doing great. And we are um, this game is going to be set in the Anima setting, and it's going to follow the character of Darius Onata. Can you tell us a little bit about your character, please?
Well, Darius is a curious fellow.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been one that searches for informations, uh, and has been known to get into some deeper stuff than some would suspect. Particularly gaining a friend of, well, you could say a friend of Lelithal,
Okay.
a demon, in fact, actually.
You are playing as a diva, one of the supernatural creatures of Anima that gets tracked down and murdered by the Inquisition at every opportunity. You have that gives you a third eye on your forehead, and um, unlike in the other game, you're not a human with a diva's soul inside of you. You are descendants of you are a
Of the Deva,
yeah, exactly.
a true blood, you could say.
Yeah.
Yes, and in the other game, I am just a true blood human.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, I meant in the other game I was referring to Jeff's game, where
Ah,
he is playing where he keeps playing like what are these guys called? Nephilim. You're also both a summon. You're also a summoner with some with a few magical powers. And you are a user of natural magic, which means basically you have zero training in magic, and it's always chaotic and improvised because you have never learned a spell yet. Okay,
correct.
you're we're going to start this game under strange circumstances. Your character. Now, what you're seeing right now is behind you. This is not where your character is. You are actually uh, here. Okay. Um,
Ooh, pretty.
Okay, so you are in what seems to be a sort of entrance. Looking back in this direction, there's the sort of staircase that you seem to have arrived from. You're here without any memories of how you got here, and very few memories of um, who you are. You remember your name, you remember you're a diva, but that's about it. It seems that that something has erased your mind. It's erased a lot of your memories. You also have this um, connection to a being that seems to be not very far from you, and you can see through this being's eyes, and you know exactly where he is, and it's your Leafofage. It's the demon that you bound yourself to in the past. But your character, yeah, right now you just know that the name of his species is Leafofage, and that he's bound to you and bound to listen to and your orders. But he also doesn't have any memories right now, and he's looking around confused. And um, he is aware that he has the power to eat memories. But he looks at you and he tells you, "Oh, that wasn't me. I don't know. I don't think it was me that erased our memories." And um, when you look around some more, you seem to be in the ruins of an entrance, basically. Um, can your character see the supernatural? Can you see psychic powers more specifically?
Yes, absolutely. That's what my third eye does. It actually tells me the true name of things as well.
Um, right. Let me. Okay. So yeah, you it doesn't allow you to see the leafophage because your leafophage is invisible, but technically, with your third eye, you're able to see like the outline of his outline, which is humanoid. Uh,
Okay.
th- oh wait, God, no. All right. And looking around you, you see this sort of vast pyramid. Um, you are currently in, uh, like, at the edge of this huge building. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, and it's like you've entered the grounds of that building. Uh, just for a bit of perspective, this is what the building looks like from the outside. You'd be like somewhere like around here, you know. Um,
Okay.
basically, like you've entered this gate here. It doesn't look exactly the same, but like yeah,
Gotcha.
it seems you've come from this direction, lost your memories, and that's just where you are. Around those ruins, there's gardens and there's the big gate that seems to be the entrance to this place. Farther away from where you are, you hear voices talking from the gardens. Voices that are numerous. There's more than 10 of them, and they seem to be coming they seem to be coming closer to your position. What do you do?
I will walk towards the voices
All
for
right.
now.
You start heading towards the voices, and you're going to come across a group of teenagers, basically. Some of them older than the others, and they all see they're walking through the gardens, and at their head is someone who seems to be giving a class. This person. Um, so you don't know this person's name, and you have
Right.
the images of every character from class 1A.
Class 1A.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. These are their like you can have a look at like
Hmm.
all of the images. I'm like making them pop up for uh, the audience. So there's some of them look uh, vaguely humans, and some of them definitely aren't. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, they don't seem to have noticed you yet because you're still, you've just walked around the corner of a ruined, um, yeah, of a ruined wall, and yeah, uh, the teacher is talking about finding a good place to meditate. Um, in connect because it is connected to your mind, your leafophage is able to talk to you through telepathy. It's not like the psychic power, but you're basically able to communicate from a distance. And he tells you, "Huh, we don't know what we're doing here, so we might want to be discreet. You want me to scout ahead, or do you think they might be able to detect?" Uh, that some of them might be able to detect the supernatural.
Can I respond back in my head?
Yes, absolutely. You can give orders to him and stuff like this.
Ah,
I could stab one of them and see what happens if you'd like.
telepathically, I'm going to say if they're talking about meditating, they're either monks or magic users, most likely. And generally, they can see such as you. I suggest that you go back home for now.
Um, so Yeah, he's your familiar, so he's able to transform into energy and enter your body. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, like it's a little dimension thing, I guess. That's as far that's kind of what I read.
Hmm.
You
Right.
have a little dimension where your familiars live.
It's not a dimension. It's more that like he gets stored as energy, and he's like conscious through your telepathic link. You're able to see through his eyes. He's also able to see through your eyes and feel through your senses, but he doesn't have like his pocket dimension. Also, the eyes of the soul don't allow you to see psychic powers. They allow you to see the spiritual beings and feel their elemental affinities, and you're able to see magic because you have the gift. But other supernatural powers like psychic powers and what's the other one? And
Key?
key powers, if they're not specified to be visible, they are not to you. I mean, like most key techniques will be uh, uh, physically visible, but currently, but not some of the powers. So yeah, um, you can see that some of the students have magical powers on them, and I don't either they're magical objects or they are spells they seem to have cast on themselves.
May I ask if natural magic would be able to detect key and psychic if I was to cast a spell on myself? Because I was thinking about knowing my weakness of that and sustaining, basically, just each day casting
Which which,
electricity.
which spell are you referring to?
Unsure.
Oh, you want to use natural magic to do that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So first, let's. It's quite. Wait, no. I keep opening this in the wrong page. Oh,
Plus, we can use natural magic to really see how it works.
yep. First chance to use this. So I'm gonna have to determine what sort of power level this is. Oh, um.
It would be able to see matrices and key techniques.
So that's one of the troubles of natural magic. It's that the game master has to have a look at the potential effects of a spell and determine if it is which level it is. Protective shield, altering a person's appearance with illusion, seeing the aura of a person. Yeah, so it's going to be a level 2 effect,
Okay.
meaning the difficulty for a level 2 effect
18.
is 18. You can, and since you're trying to cast it for a day, it would be the modifier would be +5, which means you would need to roll for a total of let's see, 23 currently.
23.
uh,
Okay.
and, and you can reduce the Xeon the difficulty of the spell by how much Xeon you spent. So what do you do? Uh,
Oh, that is weird.
hmm?
Okay, that's strange. So the duration bonus is actually negative. What about the distance bonus? Is that a negative as well?
um, it's not a distance bonus; it's a bonus to projection. So
Okay.
and basically it raises the difficulty. You know, uh,
Oh,
it's +5 to the difficulty of your power check, and your power check is already 18. And if you want it to last for a day, you gotta um, you gotta have a modifier
okay.
of +5. Since you're casting it on yourself, the distance is touch, and so you don't have any modifiers for this. And the and like I don't know. They seem to be writing with their feet, but basically the Xeon spent. It should be the opposite.
Okay.
it like basically it gives you it's not a bonus to the difficulty
Well,
when
it
it's a
says modifier to power check,
yeah
so now I get it.
yeah
Okay. I
it's
will.
complicated basically like they it says a like on some of the tables it says a plus something as a plus to the difficulty, and on the Xeon thing it says a bonus a plus to your roll. So it's yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do
I'll
you do?
be spending 150.
Okay. Um, how long does that? Yeah. How long did you need to accumulate 150 points of Xeon?
It would take me 3 turns, but I was asking if it's a thing that I could already have on.
Oh,
So
no,
I would know my.
you don't currently have any supernatural
Oh,
any powers on
awesome.
you.
Okay. Well then, never mind. Ignore it.
Okay.
But now I know for the future, 23 DC
Mhm.
plus 50,
Yeah,
which means that I need to roll a 3 on the dice, which I didn't do.
okay. You can
Yay!
we can do that like next
Yeah,
yeah,
I need
whenever you
to.
want to cast the spell. So
Awesome.
yeah. So the class is there, and they they are they're moving along. You can see that some of the students are listening very closely, and some of the students don't seem to care much or at all. So like there are some of the students that are much closer to the teacher. For example, uh, the this guy who doesn't have his wings outstretched. He
Can I see
currently.
them though?
Hmm?
I can see his wings though.
No, you can't see them because they're like folded back into his body.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not like materialized. Uh,
Okay.
this person is also listening closely, and um, and there's like there's a couple of them that are lagging behind. For example, Baroness, like the diva, is lagging behind.
Mhm.
This person seems to be a ghost or
Oh,
a spiritual
fun.
entity, and so does this one. The Lorena is hanging back with um, the this elf, and both of them are just they're talking to each other. Um,
Are
uh,
they connected magically at all?
no, you don't see any spell tying them together, but
Okay.
they seem to be, looking at the other students and making fun of the class, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what do you
I will uh, walk out to them.
do? Okay. All right. So the teacher sees you, and he uh,
Lawless
uh
is not there right now.
mhm,
Lawless is not there right now.
yeah.
People will not know about him for now.
Yeah, leaf of age, yes. And he seems a bit surprised, and he says, "Hello, what what are you doing here? How did you get in?"
Your guess is as good as mine. Have I
Oh,
told you?
you uh, you've had your memory erased by the shield. Hmm, interesting. He comes towards you, and he's going to point at something that you are you have a pocket on your vest, and you can feel something that's weighing it down. And he points to it and he says, uh, "Is that an insignia in your pocket?"
I pull it out.
Yeah. That's yeah. It's a badge embroidered with an E, and it's yeah, and embroidered with an E, and it has this faint magical glow to it. And the teacher says, "Ah, yes, you this insignia is something given to students. It allows them to enter the school. But if you don't have permission, the shield will still erase your memory. You uh, well, it's alright. He turns to the rest of the class and he says, "All right, everyone, listen. I have to take care of this kid. We got to do something about his memory. Class is dismissed for now." Um, and you can see like some of the students are happy and some of them like are not. Uh, this Duxarist is actually looks really angry at you, and he says, uh, "Oh, come on, what do you have to pop up? I really needed that class."
I'm
Um,
sure that the professor will put it off for another time.
hmm?
Sorry to be sorry to impede on the class. This is not of my choice.
um, yeah, he yeah uh, he just looks angry and he says, "You better not uh, be here to cause any trouble." And this is what the um, school badge looks like.
Ooh, okay.
So the teacher says, "My name is Ezra Cho. I'm professor of mentalists and meditation here. What is your name? It should be one of the only things you haven't forgotten about yourself."
Darius Onato.
All right. Welcome to the Eldria School of University of Magus. All right, come with me. And you can see some of the students like start, go immediately go about their doing their own stuff, like the ghost and the elf, Lorena and Carmina. And
Hmm.
some of the other students like they're going off in the garden. Some of the other ones head inside of the building. You start being led towards the top of the pyramid. The inside of this building is really strange because there are some places where it seems very magical, and there are some other places where the corridors are really weird. You pass by one of the corridors that has all of those metallic pipes and that looks very technological until you finally arrive um, at this place. The A
Oh,
very long and spooky corridor towards the top of the pyramid. That leads to a chamber. And as you are, uh, yeah, you're asked politely to wait here by Professor Cho. I think Professor Cho has. Did he say his name? Yeah, he did. And yeah, he goes inside and he tells you wait here. I'll go and see if the headmistress is available. Um,
what sort of magic is around here?
oh,
Like,
there's different protective spells that you've seen as you were walking around, and then there's some spells that you don't really know about. Your memory is still a bit um, muddled, so it's hard for you to use magic appraisal to detect them. But I'll let you make a magic appraisal test at -30.
minus 30 heard. 30, right?
Yeah, -30. Yeah. Whew,
That
open roll.
will be a 230. I cannot open roll.
You cannot. Why is that?
Unlucky destiny.
Oh, okay. So you took the. That's gonna make this game a bit more balanced. You have.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm
Mhm.
only based off of my skill.
Yep. Um,
Right.
right. So yeah, you yeah, 230 is more than enough. There's um the corridor that I talked to you about where there was machinery.
Uh-huh.
It looked like all of this technology was binded with magic. In this setting, it's very rare, but it's called techno magic, and it's not something like it's surprising even for your character that this thing exists. Even though you have no memory, it's still something that's really out of the ordinary. And
Okay.
the whole place that you're at, it has it like it has a lot of magical energy flowing through it.
Okay.
Uh, Leaf of Age tells you, I don't really like this place. It's got so many supernatural stuff going on. Everything looks weird. Probably not safe to stay and to stick around here. Which we should probably bail.
It is a place of study, and as long as I don't have my memories, there's no point in leaving. I don't even know what I was doing outside of
Yeah, but mm, uh, still, we should be careful whether or not we trust these people.
you. Oh, I fully intend not to try. I merely wish to study.
So, after a couple of minutes, uh, Professor Chu comes back out and tells you, right, you can come in now. And the office does not look like an office at all. It looks like a place of power. Um,
Oh, fun.
yeah, it has like uh, there's a lot of like psychic energies around here. This is a huge. Oh yeah, you can't see psychic energy. This is a huge floating crystal, and since you can't see what's holding it upwards, you're pretty sure it's psychic powers. And you have
Okay.
this water basin here, and the headmistress. Um, she looks like this. She is a Duxarist, one of the dark elves. And
Gotcha.
as you enter, she says, "Hello. I detected you coming in, and was gonna have someone sent to pick you up, but Professor Cho already did. I'm the headmistress. You can call me headmistress or headmistress Assange. And you are Darius,
No,
correct?
I nod.
You're not on the admission list, Darius, but you're not the first member of the Onata family to be a student here. Um, do in fact, I believe this badge belonged to either one of your parents who met in my school. Do you have an your memories? They will return to you slowly. You'll remember where you come from. Uh, I've I've taken the steps to remove the memory band from your mind, but it won't be an instant return. There is a small problem though. When since I am in charge of the shield, I can detect how many people come in every time, and I felt a few minds coming in with you. Do you know anything? Do you know anything about that? Your badge was only supposed to let one person in, and it seems that more than one did come through.
How many minds did you sense with me, out of curiosity?
Four.
Well, two of them I have no idea of. One I do have an idea of, but don't worry. He won't be a problem.
That is for me to decide as the Headmistress. Can you please can you tell him to manifest? Cho has already sensed this his mind inside of you.
And what proof do I have that you won't kill him?
Why would I? Is just like you don't have any proof that I won't kill you. Uh, I don't have any prejudice against uh, creatures for being who they are. And if your parents gave you this badge and you're bound to him like I think you are, that means he is as trustworthy as you are.
I motion for Lawless to come out.
Okay. Uh, do we want to give him a name, or do you want to just call him by the name of his species?
I like Lawless, because that's not his species, right?
He's called his species is Lethophage. How are you going to write his name?
Uh, exactly how it is on the character sheet. I've been using that. L-O.
No, this is the character sheet. Lethophage.
Yeah, I know. The character name is like on it is Lawless.
Oh,
L-O.
Letho
L-O-T-H. Lawless.
Loth. Where do you see that?
I don't know, dude. It's at the top of the bar. Plus, I'm actually outside right now, so I'm not on my computer.
Okay, I've modified it.
Walking my dog.
I've, um, I've modified it to Lethophage, but it was lethal before. Um,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
really weird that you're seeing that.
Interesting.
Yeah, are you fine with
Uh,
calling him Lethophage?
sure.
Mhm.
Leaf of Age?
Yeah, that's the name of his species.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So he materializes next to you, and um, yeah, he's skeptic. He says, "I'm a demon. Not a lot of people react positively to seeing me." And yeah, you when he manifests, you see him and you know exactly what he looks like, but as soon as you look away from him, that you forget what he looks like, and you forget exactly where he is. The only way you're able to keep track of him is because you are um, connected to him through your familiar bond, so you can see through his eyes. But yeah, he
Gotcha.
technically counts as invisible because he's constantly erasing his memory from the minds that detect the memory of what he looks like and where he is, making him essentially invisible. Um, the headmistress doesn't seem to see him, but Sho has his eyes fixed on him. And yeah, headmistress Osiris says, "Thank you. At this school, we don't have anything against demons, just like we don't have anything against most familiars, as long as they respect the rules. Now, it seems
And
we
the
have
rules being?
uh, there's a couple. If you're going to be a student here, you might as well know them. You do have a student badge. You should know there's a forbidden section of the school, the East Wing. It's it's not been in use since the war, and it has some, let's say some crumbling architecture that is dangerous for students to wander into. And naturally, you're not to go in. You're not to go in towards to attempt to go towards the core of the pyramid. That's where some of the teachers are currently doing some experiments, and disturbing them would be dangerous. It's also where our 5 scrolls of infinite power are being kept. Very dangerous. things that a mere student shouldn't have a look at. You should also
Really?
respect what the teachers tell you to do and follow the schedule of the classes that you can participate in. Does that
Oh,
seem agreeable to you?
that would be fine. All I care about is where is the libraries that I'm allowed in.
All right. Now, I'm gonna have to take care of this intruder business. It would be bad if anybody had used your badge to get in, and also, if your parents are smarter than just to tell you to get in from the platform where you um, were probably teleported to or flew to or something. You the platform is outside of the magical barrier of the school, which means it's possible to arrive there without having your memories erased. But you stepped in anyways, even if you were probably knew that it could erase your memories, which means you were probably fleeing from something, one of the intruders that got in.
Well, that
You,
is less than ideal.
that's right. They didn't kill you afterwards, which means they probably need you for something.
Humans? I
Hmm?
asked. Humans?
Depends. Did you see anyone when you came to?
I was merely with my ally. That was all. And then uh, I found Professor Cho's class.
All right. She um she leans closer and she says, "Your parents. If you ended up here with one of your parents' insignia, it means they sent you here. If you were being followed by a creature that managed to get in, it means you were in danger. It means very quite probably that your parents were in danger and they chose and they chose to send you here because it was the safest place they knew. Now you might not remember all of this, but uh, it it means but um, I think your parents trusted me in
Are
my
dead?
university, which mean, and I'm asking you, based on what you know, do you trust me?
I have no portion of trust or mistrust in you. Merely all I desire is knowledge.
You want to do you mean you want to regain your memories, or do you really want to be a student, or both?
Memories and a student would most likely be beneficial to me, especially if I was being hunted. The stronger I am, the better.
All right.
After all, most likely if my parents did send me here, or whatever guardian was taking care of me, then likely they are dead. So it most likely is down to me and my comrade.
All right. In this case, welcome to Eldria. She extends uh, a hand towards you as if to shake it.
I extend my own hand.
Okay. There's this sort of flash, not just a flash of light, but suddenly you are outside of the headmistress's office with Professor Chen, and he's saying, "All right, I'll show you around the school, and I will show you the staff. You're a diva, which means you're probably going to be able to cast magic uh, so you should probably train in that a little bit. And you have a familiar. Divas tend to be good at summoning, so you're probably going to want a class of this as well. Mm, all right, probably. You're probably going to see every teacher. It's about noon. Everybody should be inside of the mess hall. Come with me. And he is. Let's see, where is the? Yeah, the
I
mess hall.
would like to uh,
So this
I'd
is not
like
the mess hall.
to. I was about to say that's a really weird mess hall. Wait, can I heat that thing? Um.
Mhm.
Anyways, I would like to join as many classes as I can.
Good. Right. So uh, you make it to the mess hall, and currently, like some of the people from class 1A are eating there. There's also a couple of other characters from the other classes, but we're not going to they're not going to be like important NPCs, so it's only the NPCs from class 1A that we're going to focus on. Um,
Gotcha.
so Gremlin is there, and she is sitting alone. Um, uh, yeah, I think Soji is there with Angela and Sarah. And yeah, some of the students don't
Is
need. Hmm?
Lorena there? Is Lorena there?
No, Lorena is not there. It is the mess hall to eat food, so neither Lorena nor Zelfir are present because they're
Mm.
ghosts. There's also a couple of teachers. You see a person who's heavily tattooed, um, uh, who's just sitting in one of the uh, teachers at the teachers table, and Professor Cho points to that person and says, "This is Professor Magus. He's going to be your teacher of magical theory. He knows a lot of spells and the Arcana and he teaches the Arcana Sephiron, which is the, the magical tree."
May
Um,
I see if I could see how much magic he has and what types of magic, potentially?
all right, let's go for some magical. Um, uh, t- t-
Any
t-
bonuses?
yeah, give me 1 second. You don't have, so it's not going to be magical appraisal because he currently doesn't have any spells on him.
Okay.
Um, but I think it's, uh, I just need to have a look at blah blah blah. Mm, where is it's wait, is it a code? Wait, which skill do you want to use currently?
Magic appraisal or occult. Either one is fine with me. I'd
Okay.
prefer magic appraisal, but
I need to check if it's possible to tell someone's powers just based on magic appraisal.
looking at them.
Yeah. So magic appraisal is a vital ability for spellcasters, as explained in Chapter 4. This ability permits spellcasters to measure and recognize magic, as well as to hide it from others. Spellcasters may use it to detect magical beings and other bearers of the gifts. So yeah, go ahead and roll for this. It is a passive ability, and players who declare that their character are being attentive to the magical fluctuation around them are entitled to a new roll each time they encounter any magical force. It will also allow the spellcaster to conceal their supernatural powers and spells passively even in their sleep. Okay.
Mhm. Would you like me to roll for suppressing my own?
Mm, no, I don't. I don't know if anyone is like checking. Everybody has the gift, who has the gift, isn't isn't hiding it. At least not in the school.
Okay.
Okay. It is extremely difficult to conceal supernatural power while accumulating magic. For this reason, spellcasters have a penalty to their magic appraisal equivalent to twice the Xeon points they have accumulated when trying to conceal their power. In addition to this, there are other modifiers that could blah blah blah. The distance and yeah. So there's no spells active, but with but if you rolled higher than 20, you do detect that um, Omar Magus does have the gift.
Okay. Is that all I get, or
Hmm?
is that all I get with the 240, or?
Yeah, you until he actually casts a spell, you won't know
Oh,
what types of magic he knows. There's another
gotcha.
teacher who's eating right next to him, who is who looks to be like a
Okay.
pig with magical with like human clothing, basically. Um,
Okay.
he seems to be humanoid, and currently he's this small. And their Ostratro tells you this is Professor Bacon, Professor of Summoning. And
Okay.
this person is Professor Nobelius. She's the teacher of Arcanozoology. You're going to want to have classes with her to identify the creatures that you summon and things like this. And then the last two teachers don't need to eat, so you'll probably meet them soon. Feel uh, uh, how do you remember having a lot of experience with the supernatural in general?
May I roll memorize
Yeah,
to see if
yeah.
I remember?
Go ahead and we'll memorize. It's a difficulty 80 to remember. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you know about the level of your skills, and when you talk with Professor Cho, he tells you, all right, you're probably going to be joining class 1A. It's their first year here, most of them, and school years. Uh, the school year has begun, but based on what you seem to know, you seem to have about the level necessary. Um, so yeah, Professor Cho uh, goes to see Omar and Professor Magus and says, uh, "Could do you think you could do me a favor? I need you to create a timetable for our new students, Darius Sonata." And Omar says, yes, absolutely. There's a so he seems to concentrate for a second, and he casts a spell, and you're going to see this. It's a light spell. It's basically a floating eye that appears, and that t- that turns towards his tattoos. And right after, and he pauses for a second, and then he casts another spell, and he produces a timetable for you. So he's just used light magic and creation magic,
Okay.
and yeah, he hands
Is
you.
it
Hmm?
is that roll high enough to know what the spells are, possibly?
Yes, I think it's called Spy of Light in at least that's what it's called in French, and the other one is a minor creation that's
Oh.
permanent. Like it's a
Wait.
hmm?
Minor creation doesn't last that long.
It's going to be like a spell that does last, basically, instead of minor creation.
Okay, I think. Okay. I don't think creation has anything that just lasts, sadly.
Mm,
Unless he's gonna maintain my spell. Unless he's gonna maintain my schedule every day with major creation.
let's see. It could also be like I know there's an earth spell that allows you to like if your timetable is made out of like a thin sheet of metal that's able to do this. But basically, yeah, you're handed um, uh, something like this, and yeah, you can see that your next class is with Professor Zenobius, and it's professor of he's the teacher of magical ethics.
Okay.
So, yeah, what do you? But currently it's dinner time. So what do you do?
Where? When is it again?
It's noon. It's
No,
lunchtime.
no, my next class.
Oh, it's going to be in like an hour and a half.
Okay. I will grab a bite to eat. And
Right?
then, Gremlin was alone, correct?
Yeah.
I will walk over and I will ask, is this seat taken?
She says, no, but you don't want to sit next to me.
And what reason would that be?
She, yeah, she raises an eyebrow and she says, uh, you don't want to, if you associate with me, you're, you're going to, you're gonna get a bad reputation.
I'm a diva. I already have. And I sit down.
Okay.
To be fair, that's a very honest statement, though I'm a diva.
Hmm? Divas aren't always like, apart from being hated by the Inquisition and humans, they don't have like such a bad rep.
Okay.
Um,
So
alright.
why would I have a bad reputation if I said, what have you done?
Well, first of all, I look like this. Second of all, I'm not the. Uh, uh, wait, yeah. Second of all, I'm not the most talented of students. I'm only here to learn about how to create magical objects, and I don't have any other. I don't have any supernatural gifts like everybody else. So, uh,
Artifact creation is one of the most precise magics, other than, you know, a certain type of magic, but still, it is respectful. And appearance is just, well, something you can't change unless you use magic. But even then, that's superficial.
so as you're talking to her, um, she says, "Ah, that's very nice. My name's Gremlin." And she extends her hand, which has like some mucus on it, and yeah. Also, contrary to most creatures of her species, she has bat wings on her folded on her back, and
Is she supernatural?
um, she is she's a natural being.
Okay, making
You
sure.
you can roll, I believe, you can roll occult at a difficulty of 140 to know what species she belongs to.
Ooh. If I roll a 4 or lower, I fail.
Okay, so you succeed. She is a Balzac. The Balzacs used to be one of the predominant species in Gaia, and they used to worship beings known as the Old Gods, who were sort of like Cthulhu-like um, creatures. You know, like they're ancient gods, like the Cthulhu mythos, and they are some of them are still found in the New Continent, which you don't know how far the New Continent is. You don't know where you are on Earth, on Gaia. And as you are talking to her, Iroh comes into the uh, uh, hall, and immediately Gremlin says, "Oh no, here it comes. This is Iroh Drevius. He's the headmistress's son, and yeah, he is currently walking with um, uh, this human kid, uh, Picard, and he sees the two of you eating together, and he points to you and loudly says, "Oh, look at that! The freaks have already made a group together," and makes a couple of the other students laugh. You can see that he's far enough away from the teachers um, that none of them seem to have heard, or if they did, they don't seem to be, um, you know, reacting to it. So what do you do?
I smile and I laugh.
Oh,
I nod and I motion to them. Oh yes, two shirtless boys walking around together. Everything's quite normal.
um, uh, and yeah, the Iroh Larson says, "What? We're only following Professor Magus's awesome style of awesome clothing style. You
So
have
tell
anything
me,
against it, new kid?"
no, I just thought that you would be more original. After all, you try to be.
Um, he squints at you and says, "Be careful what you say. I'm uh, uh, the head.
Headmistress's son?
Yeah."
I already know.
So there's a pause, and then he says, "Well, I can't wait for supernatural defense class." And he's just going to go and sit at one of the tables away from you. He's gonna make like uh, another jab. Like you vaguely hear him saying something about like five eyes because you do have glasses, and
Hmm.
uh,
3 eyes.
no, five eyes in total.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and oh yeah. Five eyes and the frog, like the uh, and he makes like a Icarus laugh. Um, to the side, you can see that Carmina and Lorena they are sitting like next to each other in like at one of the tables. They also seem pretty isolated from the rest, and they seem to be in a very enthralling discussion. Mm,
Lorena is supernatural, correct?
yes, she is. You're able to see her, but she seems to be incorporeal. You vaguely see through her all the time.
I'm watching her for her true name.
Okay. Yeah. So after a couple of turns, you're able to tell her true name is Lorena.
Loreno.
Lorena, just as
Oh,
is
Lorena.
written by her on her
Okay.
character sheet.
And she lets everyone know this?
Hmm?
She lets everyone know that her name is Lorena.
There isn't exactly a defense check there's no way to resist a diva looking at you like
Oh,
that.
no, no, no. I mean, like, does everyone call her Lorena?
You don't know. You haven't asked anyone. You ask
I,
Gremlin.
yes, I ask Grub.
How do you say?
I motion over to the Lorena. And I
Mhm.
say, so, who is the spectral over there?
That's that's Lorena. Uh, she's a weird ghost. Calls herself a banshee. Uh, and that next to her is her girlfriend Carmina. Um, uh, they're they're the weird goth kids.
I chuckle. It is ballsy to say your own true name when summoners are in the school.
Oh, you're not. We're not supposed to use summonings or mind controlling powers on each other or any powers. Uh,
Oh, I have no doubt. I was just curious. If
oh,
anyone ever leaves the school, then they can call Lorena much easier. Unless she's bound, of course.
uh, don't know if she is. You have to ask her. Uh, Also, since you've observed her, you know that she is a spirit. She's not an undead, so your summoning powers would apply on
Not
her. Hmm?
okay.
No,
So she's not a banshee?
she is a banshee. Banshees are they're spirits instead of undead.
Ah, curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So,
you can like the basically I've given a lot of backstory and the personality to all of the uh, characters because I'm really interested in like seeing in like developing this entire class and your relationship to all of them a bit uh, like I'm taking a bit of inspiration from My Hero Academia and how it treats a classroom of people with powers.
I already knew because of Class 1A. Like, I was like,
Oh,
I see.
I didn't actually do
So,
that on purpose. I just like first year and A, and that's I
all
didn't
good.
remember that. I've only ever seen the first season.
You
Um,
good.
yeah.
So, Gremlin, have you ever created anything yet?
Mm. Yeah, a couple of things. I'm I've tried the different methods of creating artifacts, and I'm pretty good at uh, uh, runes and animism, but I'm hoping I can work my way up to alchemy. Professor Iscariot is a really good teacher. You can roll for history to know the name Iscariot. It's a pretty famous name. There's two very famous people who have this family name.
Repeat that, please, because you cut out.
Oh, you can roll for history to know about the family name Iscariot. There are two big NPCs that have this name in history. It's going to be a difficulty 80 history. Okay, cool. There's two characters who have this name. One of them was one of the apostles of Abel. Um, Abel is the Christ of this setting, and um, uh, and yeah, one of his apostles was called Judah Iscariot, I believe. He and I think he betrayed Christ at some point. I don't have like you don't know much about him, but his
Mm.
great grandson, the last of the Iscariot line was Ra Iscariot. The Ra was a human who declared war on most of the world, and he was starting to win until the first emperor of the Empire of Abel uh, basically pushed back his armies and uh, defeated him. But yeah, this Ra Iscariot almost conquered all of Gaia, and he's also responsible for the activation of something called of a powerful machine that destroyed the supernatural in the world for a very long time, or at least weakened it a lot. That's that's what you know based on history. And Ra was supposed to be the last of his line, so it's weird to you that there's a teacher called Professor Iscariot in the school.
Hmm. If the blood remains, then of course they would be powerful.
Are you murmuring this to yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Gremlin says, Oh no, Professor Iscariot doesn't have any blood.
Oh?
Um, he's a statue.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
uh, this school has so much supernatural energy in it that things keep mutating. If a family stays on the grounds for a couple of generations, they cease to be natural creatures and they become supernatural. Um, and statues get animated over time, and weird things keep happening. We get infestations of Blatodias every now and then for bugs that are mutated by magic. Um, Professor Iscariot, he was a statue of Ra Iscariot that got animated over time. So he's a statue of that famous person.
That is worrying. But curious.
Nah, you don't have to worry. He's nice, and he's apparently his personality is different from the original Ra. At least he hasn't tried to conquer the world in all of his existence, and I know he's pretty old because he referred to the fact that he traveled all over the world.
Well, that is ideal. Let us hope that he doesn't try. Anyway, it has
Don't
been good meeting you, Gremlin. Or Greblin.
Nice meeting you too. Uh, uh, you should probably go and get something to eat over there. And like she points to.
Oh, he already grabbed something to eat before he sat down.
Okay. Yeah. I believe the person who was. Yeah. I believe. We. I just want to do a short scene about this.
Okay.
When you go and grab some food, Professor Novelius, she comes over to where you are and like you have all sorts of foods laid up on the table before you, and she says um, uh, all of the food was created by magic. In case you're worried, none of the meat was created without killing any creatures. Just so you know, I know some Sylvains are against eating meat, and some divas don't find it very logical. So rest assured, there's no problems with this food. I'm Professor Novellis. It's I understand you'll be in my class. And she
I
like
nod.
extends her hand, and she says, I look forward to new students. Divas tend to be very good in my class.
Yes, I would suppose so. After all, we generally know a lot about creatures.
Yes. Um, just when um, and it could if we start summoning some creatures, you can help me out by and the other members of the class by telling everyone the name of that creature. Uh, you're going to be a very uh, interesting addition to Class 1A. And she smiles at you and says, "Well, I'll have to I have to go back and prepare my next class. But welcome to Eldria.
I nod. I thank you for your welcome. I hope I shall enjoy your class.
I hope so too." And she leaves.
Um, Now we go back to Gremlin.
Yeah.
As I'm getting up, I say, if you ever create anything useful, I would like to see it.
Depends what you mean by useful. Whatever the uh, um, the best thing I've created so far is a ball that magically attracts flies to it and gets them stuck on its surface. It's really good for it's really good to get some to get rid of flies and to get some food prepared for me.
I nod. Fair enough. Complete 2 tasks at once.
Yeah.
That is smart. Well, if you ever start testing with more magical,
Mm. You're probably going to be in the class as well. For you are basically you are in every single class with all of the
okay,
professors because every single one of the class plays into one of the skills that you've already put points in or that you could or that you could or that could be beneficial to you in some way. For example, meditation can be useful even to mages because it allows you to recover an extra amount of
equal
um,
to your wisdom modifier,
uh, Xeon equals to your willpower modifier.
willpower modifier. That's right.
Do you have a positive willpower modifier?
I don't believe I do. Nope.
Oh no, yeah, no, that's fine. You're still going to like get the class until you prove totally useless at meditation, at least. Um, yeah, I don't have a teacher for key yet because I haven't had to get one, but I'll add one later.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I'm actually debating making this character literally less than ideal and trying to go down every path. But at the same time, that makes you so like useful. That's so weak.
Um, as soon as you get a creature that is more of a combatant, that creature would probably attend uh, the the key class.
Yeah, I'll probably just do that, to be honest.
Um, yeah. Um, uh, as so you're leaving basically uh, Gremlin right now.
Yep, I'm
Okay.
leaving Gremlin.
Um, so as you make your way uh, uh, elsewhere, you see a red-haired kid that comes to talk to you. He says, "Hey, hi. Uh, my name is Boris. You're I heard that you're going to be joining our class. I'm in 1A as well." He extends his hand, and you can see he has like a bunch of tattoos on it. and with your occult, you know that those patterns are similar to Ibudan tattoos.
Okay, and what are those?
Ibudans all have a destiny to accomplish, and if they are able to, they're basically uh, fallen angels, and and once they accomplish their destiny, they go back
Angels?
to being like fully fledged angels. They can become a spiritual creature with a lot of bonuses, or they can like stay physical and have other big bonuses. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but they have to
I
accomplish their destiny beforehand.
gotcha. I nod. If I may ask, have you found your destiny yet?
Oh, yeah. My parents helped me decipher these when I was a kid. I'm destined to be a teacher here someday.
Hmm.
Uh,
Maybe.
yeah, um, I was
What would
thinking,
you?
have you had a tour of the school yet? There's lots of really nice places to see, and you wouldn't want to get lost on your way to one of the classes. Lots of sections are forbidden around here. I could show you around before Professor Zenobius's class.
I suppose that would be ideal. Besides, it would get you training to become a teacher. No?
Yeah, something along those lines. I know the school grounds better than anybody else. Well, better than any other students. Um, yeah, he tells you, you want to come with me?
I nod.
All right. So So he's going to start showing you around. There's a couple of places. So he makes sure to like show you the limits of the core of the pyramid. It's always sealed by techno-magical doors, and nobody's allowed there. He tells you that the this section is has been like a lot of teachers and researchers work in there. They're working on some big projects. Nobody's allowed in. He's going to show you to the students' dorms, and you have your own bedroom. There's characters on this image. You can ignore the bunny characters that are here and sleeping on the bed, but basically this is what your room is going to be.
Gotcha.
Um,
The giant big pot of stew in the middle.
Yeah, this one is not going to be there as well.
Oh, good.
There's a couple of classes. You are also taken to the school baths that seem to be coming from a natural spring, but you're not sure if it is that natural. And yeah, you realize your character your character really needs to uh, go to the bathroom at this point. So while you um, isolate yourself from Moors, I have one question. What is
Hmm.
your Leaf of Age doing during this time? Is he sticking around and following you? Is he um, uh, back inside of your body?
But he's been back inside my body ever since we left the headmistress.
Okay.
Or,
You, yeah, when you make your way to the uh, bathroom,
oh.
you hear a voice very close to your ear as you're sitting down, and it says, uh, "Don't move." And you can don't move and don't scream, and you can feel five pointing things pressing against your spine, and there's a voice that says, "And don't call upon your familiar either, or try anything fishy. I can slice your spine in a second."
Smart. However, what are you doing here and what do you want?
I came in here with you, and uh, I I want to get into the core. You have a student badge. You can take me through the different protections. You're gonna take me. You're going to wait for an opportunity, and you're gonna take me there. If you try anything fishy, I'll kill you.
And if I don't care?
If you don't, what did you say?
And if I don't care? Your one way is me. That's all. You
You
try to kidnap another student and you get caught. I'm new. I'm usable. What your plan banks off of is my fear.
Well, your fear or your familiar's fear. If you die, there's a chance he will too. And inside of your mind, the Leaf of Age is sort of, you know, trying to think of a solution, and he's saying, we might want to cooperate for now. What do you do? Hello?
I'm trying to think.
Um, the creature in your that's like very close to you, but behind you still somehow, like because you are sitting like and there's a wall behind you, and the creature says, uh, "Act normal for now. I know you can't getting get into the core with this with the other students, so we're gonna wait until you're done with one of your classes, and then you're gonna take me there. Now, you're a curious kid, aren't you? You want to know what's in the core as well, what the teachers are doing there, and who knows? Maybe you'll even get to see one of the scrolls of infinite power. What do you say? Why don't we work together you and we can all get out of this situation safely?"
As I said, your plan is based off of my fear. I don't care one way or the other. I'm here to study books. So, if you want to stab me, you can very well try.
Oh, make a composure check, please.
Composure check.
Yep.
To be fair, I've played this character very lifeless, as most diva are.
Hmm?
Played
Okay.
this character very lifeless, as most diva are.
All right.
They're logical.
Yeah, despite the fact that you're like trying to keep your composure, you are kind
AKA,
of,
now I have to spend points in composure.
yeah,
Great.
later down the line. But yeah, you are more like your voice quivers more with fear than you let on. Uh, so yeah, the creature says,
Actually, did I
"Hmm?
roll leadership instead?
No.
Okay.
Composure is the one to remain calm in difficult situations."
Alright, well then I guess I'm just in there.
Hmm?
Well, I guess I'm just gonna be putting into composure then, I guess.
What? Oh yeah, you mean put points in uh,
Yep.
composure later down? Yeah, when you level up, that's Good. But it is gonna be a while since you take -8 experience points uh
Session.
every session.
Mhm.
On top of having a level modifier because you're a diva, so it's gonna be interesting because you're gonna be in a
I
school and you're gonna be one of the slowest
don't know how
learners. Hmm?
I don't know how that works at all.
What? Oh,
I don't know how level adjustment works at all.
I think it requires you either 25 or 50 experience points more every level to actually level up.
Okay.
Um, let
So how much
me.
would I need right now?
We can calculate this
Later. All right.
later down the line. Okay. So yeah, the creature says, uh, uh, "I'll be watching from the shadows, and if you do anything suspicious, talk to anyone about me or try to send a signal, I'll kill you, and I'll move on, and I'll move on to the person you talk to and get them to go to the core. All right?" And uh, and uh, there's like he gives you a moment to respond as he presses his claws a bit harder. The 5 points that you've been feeling on your back, they feel almost like claws. What do you?
Uh, do I sense magic? Could I roll magic appraisal? Sense
Um,
what he is if he's not normal.
let's see. You're not turned towards him. You're not able to see
You can do an area check though,
Yep.
I believe.
So I am going to give you a penalty, and you're yeah. I'm going to give you like oh, you're gonna have the partially visible penalty.
Okay, which is
Give me 1 second. I'm checking. To, it is uh, -30.
minus 30 heard. 156 to
Okay.
see what he is.
You don't detect magic coming from that creature.
Awesome. So you're natural. Good to know.
That doesn't mean he's natural. You'd need to stare at him with your third eye directly
Really?
to be able to
With a
tell.
156?
Because magic appraisal doesn't tell you. Magic appraisal is for magic, not for the different types of creatures.
Oh. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, shoo now. I have classes to get to. Unless you want to keep me late and get caught.
Yep. He uh, uh, he was asking you, or like uh, uh, if you he was asking you like something like, "Are we clear on this?" Do you address that at all?
Oh, I don't answer that. I
Okay,
just tell him to shoo.
right. Yeah, you can feel the claws like the pressure on your spine disappear.
So
What do you do?
I get up and I go to a different toilet.
Okay.
I check the wall behind me though. Is the person there?
There's the only thing that you see when you turn around is your own shadow.
Oh, son of a bitch. Awesome.
Isn't it?
Great. We have a creature that can do that. Or a caster that can do that.
Yep, one of
Awesome.
these.
fun. Well, now I know how to combat it, though. Hopefully.
Hmm?
Nothing. Anyways, I'm gonna go use a different restroom.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna head to class after I clean myself.
All right. You're not done with the school tour yet. Morse,
Hmm.
Morse, who hasn't noticed anything, you were like a bit quiet in your talk during your talk in the bathroom. He is going to show you to the forbidden section of the gardens. Basically, he takes you outside of it, and it looks like a swamp. It looks caved in. The buildings are in ruins. And from a distance, you can
But
see some strange shapes, like a giant humanoid tree, uh, and things like this. And he tells you like nobody goes in there. Um, he also takes you through.
is it magical at all?
You can detect some magic coming the uh, from the humanoid shaped tree.
Any negatives for distance?
Hmm? No,
Any
like
negatives for distance?
I'm just telling you like this.
Oh, I know.
There's magic.
Magic appraisal.
Yeah, there are penalties for the distance, but I'm like you don't need to. Oh, you're trying to roll to see what type of magic
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. 150. That's enough. It's an essence
Wait, no, no,
based.
no, I haven't rolled. I haven't rolled.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was waiting for a negative for distance, if there was one.
Okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Um. The magic source is more than 150 feet away, so there's a minus 40.
Okay.
You also get another minus 40 because the environment is slightly charged with magic. Everything around you is very slightly magical. It does augment your regeneration, but you have a total of minus 80.
Gotcha. Got
Um,
174 with minus 80.
wow, that's pretty good. It is
I'm
an
good.
Yeah, it is an essence spell to change a creature's nature. To change it from if it was a natural being, it became something else. If it was like
Ah,
yeah.
it's trapped.
Mhm. You
Gotcha.
um, at some point, Morse takes you through a corridor that looks vaguely techno-magical. Um,
Hmm.
and he says some some students come here when they want to make uh, uh, it's a famous place for duels, but yeah, you might want to avoid doing this. It's against the rules. Um, this is Professor Annabelle's classroom and home. Well, she teaches outside in the gardens. You're also taken to the arena slash meditation classroom, which is you know the, which looks like this platform towards the edge of the school, and um, the library. At least the library, the student library, is
Okay.
uh, there's a bunch of tomes, grimoires, and stuff like this. All the while, Morse is telling you this university was this was the first university of the Order of Magus, founded by uh, Ambrose Magus himself. He left the Order of Yehuda that
As soon
because
as
hmm?
soon as Darius gets in the library, he just blanks out and just starts looking at the books.
Mm, gotcha.
He's searching through the books, seeing if anything catches his eye.
Okay. Uh, like there's a bunch of tomes on all sorts of occult things. Like there's going to be some grimoires with magic spells. There's going to be like a lot of different things. You also came here with a grimoire in your backpack. Uh, like in correct?
It's bound, isn't it? It's
Yes.
bound to me, so I
It,
can summon and unsummon it at any time.
yes.
So I was thinking it's unsummoned right now, and I'm gonna have to regain the memory to summon it back.
Um. Okay,
It's up to you.
I'm fine with this. As you're looking through the books, you remember that you start having this vague memory of like you see one of them that seems to be written in the diva's language, and you have a memory of your parents teaching you together how a little bit about uh, uh, magic um, and like summoning from a book that was written in with the same uh, types of letters. And yeah, you're starting to like have flashes of memories like this, and you remember being in this sort of caravan full of supernatural creatures that disguised themselves as humans and traveled from town to town, uh, trying to keep their identities a secret,
Mm-hmm.
like it says in your backstory. Give me 1 second. One of my players is asking about the other game that I have today. Okay,
Oh, good.
we're good. Yep. Um, when you finally, at some point, Morse tugs onto your sleeve and says, "Come on, we're gonna be late for class." Uh, while you're like in the middle of like looking at all of the books. What do you?
Gotcha. I go with him.
Okay.
Not gonna be late for class
Right.
yet.
So
Yet.
you are going to go to Professor Zenobius's class, which looks like this. Um, and the teacher is already there. He is sitting at the center of the classroom right here, reading a grimoire, and this is what he looks like.
Go. Magical ethics. Oh yay. This is gonna be fun.
Um, so yeah, now you've seen all of the teachers and all of the students.
Oh,
And
I'm fucking excited for this class.
um, as you enter, he turns around and he says, "Ah, we have a new student. Nobody warned me. You are wearing
Told you.
the insignia.
Mm.
What is your name?"
Dorius Onata.
All right. I, uh, what? How do people refer to you when they talk to you?
Dorius.
No, I meant uh, do people say say he, him, they, them, she, her for you?
He.
All right. My name is uh, I'm professor of magical ethics. Well, since we have a new student, we're going to have to start back from scratch. And you hear like the most annoyed groan coming from um, Iroh, who's like,
You can give me homework. I don't mind studying up. I'm a quick learner.
No, no, you're not.
Fuck
um,
you.
but he doesn't say this. It's the game master, and Zenobius says, "No, no. Some of uh, your classmates have been very slow on getting all of the um, on getting the basics. So it's a good thing that we're coming back to them." And he is looking at Iroh specifically, and then he says, "All right, what? Tell me, do you know what ethics should be based on? Any ideas?"
That is a very good question. On beliefs by the majority of the society that you live in.
That that is a problem. Societies change all the time. I'm very, very old, and I used to live in a society that believed those with magic are more powerful than everybody else. The Empire of Yehuda used to rule over the potions of the world and was a magicocracy. That's where I came from. My uh, but I believe that but not uh, ethics should not change based on the world around them. If we are to find the most ethical path, we have to use logic, like your people do, and determine what the best course of action is. We
Fair.
the core of the core of this class is based on the idea of complexity. When life started, as far as we know, it was very, very simple, very small as well, very pure. And the more complex life becomes, the more important it becomes. Creatures became smarter and more complex uh, with every generation until, well,
Sentience.
sentient creatures came alive. But sentience is very hard to determine specifically. We have a lot of animals could be called sentient because they have minds of their own. They might not be as complex as ours, but they're still smarter than plants, so they should be considered uh, complex as well. That's also why one of our teachers is a pig. And like, there's a couple of laughs from throughout the
I
class. Hmm?
I do have a question about that.
Yes.
Um,
By the way, his voice is very deep, and it seems to be coming from like it seems like his body is a sort of metallic portal, and you can
okay,
hear a sort of like it seems like his voice comes from very far away, and there's a bit of an echo coming from inside of him that nobody else has in the rest of the room when they talk.
gotcha. Professor Bacon, are they a natural creature or more on the supernatural side? Because I've
Um,
never met a creature like that before.
Professor Bacon is an elevated uh, pig. He had a spell cast upon him to make him as intelligent as a human and much more talented than most in the arts of summoning.
Hmm, fair enough.
Basically, when this spell was cast, his complexity augmented. He became able to have more complex thoughts than a normal pig. So, what we call uh, um, most of the ethics are based. Most of the ethics that we try to explore are very simple. The more complex something becomes, the more it should be preserved. If if you have the choice between killing a human and killing a bird, most people will choose to kill the bird. Less complex because it's a simpler creature. Likewise, I am very old and much more complex than all of you. If you had a choice, you should probably a lot of people would make the logical choice of preserving my memory of 1,000 years over any of you. There's a pause, and you can see why Iroh does not like this class, because he uh, like you can tell by his face that he does not agree with this opinion at all. And this idea of complexity is called presence. Simply put, a simple ship will have less presence than a large ship. Creatures who
Time
have
out.
less.
Did you just make a fucking game mechanic a story mechanic? I love it.
Yeah. I'm interested. I'm using
That's fucking awesome.
I'm basing the whole ethics class on the game mechanic of presence that creatures and objects
God
have.
damn it.
Uh,
That's amazing.
yeah, because like the way
It's never used, really, unless you're doing summoning.
it's also used in the creation of objects. When you use creation magic
True.
or earth magic, you're limited by the amount of presence that you can create, and you're limited by the complexity of it. That's why it has a name. And Zenobius keeps going and he says there is one other aspect to keep in mind. One of the other core aspects to keep in mind for this class, it's importance. Some things can be very simple and yet very important. Other things can be very complex and not as important. But um, uh, uh, simply put, gods and very powerful creatures have more importance, and for an equal amount of presence, some people will usually try to preserve something that is more important. What I mean by important is the way that the person weighs on destiny, on the rest of the world. Gods gods and supernatural creatures have a much higher importance. This is called gnosis, another one of the game mechanics.
I know.
Um, and yeah, he keeps going and he says, now there are differences in ideologies based on presence and gnosis, and that's when it comes to magic. Some magic is chaotic and it's able to alter both gnosis and presence. It's able to make people more complex or less complex, more powerful or less powerful. And people differ in the ideas of the way that magic should be used. And this is essential to this class, the ethics of magic. Simply put, uh, the everyone here belongs to the University of Magus. You are a part of the Order of Magus, an order of wizards and supernatural beings that try to use magic to to benefit everyone. The on the other, no matter what their importance is, and no matter what their presence in Gnosis is, our main competitors are the Order of Yehuda, who came from the last remnants of the Empire of Yehuda. They believe that anyone who has magic should should be considered more important and more complex than everybody else simply because they have the power. We tend to disagree with this, and we tend to think that magic should be used to benefit every creature, even the creatures that you'll end up creating with your magic, um, or the creatures that you'll come across. The
I raise my hand.
Yes, there is.
And what of people in this school or the other one that think of the contrary? For example, a student here could just desire magic to please themselves, whether it be for monetary gain or recognition. Meanwhile, a student over there could possibly want to help people, whether it be merely just students or uh, parents or whatever it be.
What is your question, Darius?
Are there not capabilities for people to believe in opposite ideologies yet still work for the one that they do not believe in?
Well, you could come across a lot of difference in ideologies, but every opinion is free to be debated in this class. You, uh, uh, the headmistress, and most of the Order of Magus tries to consider that no matter how much presence or how much gnosis people have, they still deserve to live and they still deserve to be happy. Even creatures like myself who are made of negative emotions and darkness, nightmares. I've been given a place here. Simply put,
Is he a supernatural creature, by the way?
yes, he definitely is. And his
Okay,
name
what is
and
his?
Zenobius.
Yeah.
That's his true name.
Okay. So he gave it, I believe?
Yeah, he told it to you, and when you look with your third eye, you can confirm his name really is Zenobius.
Here he is. So, and what if those of summoners? Summoners have the capability to bind and control those that are of supernatural nature.
That is
For
correct.
example, a summoner could make you do something that was against your moral code.
The summoner would be hard pressed to do so. I used to be a human, and through a complex ritual, me and my cabal, we transformed ourselves into what we are today. We cheated death, and but we knew that becoming a supernatural creature would be, well, would make us vulnerable to summoners. So we took precautions against this by enchanting our armors to make us more resistant to summoning powers. But if you're asking about the ethics of control, uh, maybe someone that is a class we've already covered. Maybe someone here can answer it. And you see Sarah. She raises her hands. This is she's the giant. In front of her, she has 7 books. 7 books that seem to be different from grimoires, but like you always see her carrying those 7 books around, and every now and then like opening them. Um, and they're weird because they're not like they have images on the front and back instead of just having like leather protection and stuff like this to end the title. It's more yeah. Hmm?
Nice.
Yeah. Um, and she says uh, the the opinions of the Order of Magus is that we should try to avoid using the control against creatures that do not consent to be controlled by the summoner, with the exceptions of creatures that will harm, attack, or deteriorate or kill other complex beings. So demons and dangerous creatures can be controlled ethically as long as it's to preserve other lives, and if and as long as the impact is positive to the complexity of the world itself. And Zenobius nods and says, uh, "Very good. I'm glad that you are paying much more attention in class than." Like he turns and you can see that Iroh looks like he's fallen, like he looks like he's fallen asleep out on his chair, and like he's snoring loudly. What do you do? Are you going to do any? Do you have any other questions for this class, or do we move on to another scene?
We can move on.
Okay.
I'm curious in this teacher. I like him a lot.
Uh,
I
yeah.
I was debating being a dick to what's his name, but at the same time, like I'm like when he's a dick to me, I'll bring it back to him,
Mhm.
but I'm not just gonna be a dick to him.
Okay. Um. Yeah. You can see that this creature, you can tell his name with your third eye. He's an undead. He's a ghost. He also hangs out with Iroh and Icarus.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah. Basically, the entire class takes ethics of magic. Not everybody in the class takes all of the classes, but yeah. Do you have any other questions in this class, or yeah, do we just say like the class continues and you explore more aspects of uh, the ethics of magic?
We can move on.
Okay. Um. So yeah, at the end of the class, like I think you've been given a book to take notes on, or at least papers,
Oh.
and you have like a lot written down. But since you're a slow learner, like it's good. You're not very good at like taking notes or memorizing them in general. But
Well, I mean, I'm fairly decent at memorizing, and my intelligence is high.
okay. So it's more of uh, it's more of a like, since divas have a lot of logic, it takes you much more time to analyze the ideas that are presented in the class, process them,
Hmm.
and acquire them. So,
Yeah.
as you make your uh, uh, as you make your way out of the class, I think. The Daima comes to see you, and she says, "Hey Darius, I'm Baroness. Nice to meet you.
I nod. A pleasure.
Uh, hey, do you want to make a bet?
And that bet would be?
Hmm, let's see. We play heads or tails. The person who uh, the person of which that succeeds has to. Hmm, the person who fails has to, let's see, throw a pencil at Professor Zenobius between his cloaks to see if he really is a large hole with things inside, or if he is corporeal inside of his armor. What do you say? I take heads. And like she presents she presents a coin for you.
Hmm. As much as I am curious, I prefer not to get in trouble.
Oh,
Quite yet.
it's only trouble if you if it falls on heads.
Hmm. That is fair. However, you could be cheating me, of course.
Oh, do you want to use your own coin? Promise, I won't do anything to uh, I won't use any magic to interfere.
Alright. I flip the coin.
Okay.
Some tails. I'm
Um.
gonna roll magic appraisal to see if anyone is using magic around me to affect the coin.
All right. Go ahead and make an appraisal check. 256. Nobody's using magic to affect the uh, coin toss, as far as you can see. So roll 1d2, and if you roll a 1, you lose.
Okay.
You, it's heads. And she says, "Ooh, I'm sorry, but you lose. You here. You can throw this. You can throw this coin at him, and like you see Professor Zenobius is slowly coming out, is coming out of the um, classroom, and he's having this like intense debate with let's see, he has this intense debate with uh,
Soji.
Soji, yeah, about the circumstances around her using powers to hurt people, and he's talking about when we're um, when people play games together that use powers and that are dangerous, is it okay to take that risk that somebody could be hurt or
Yeah.
die, and erase all of this complexity from the world if it brings enjoyment to everyone? And like Professor Zenobius is, debating that
Isn't
with him.
this ironic?
What do you mean?
Fucking talking about, hey, is it okay to gamble if there's some risks?
No, but
No, not really.
he's more talking about a sport that seems to be dangerous. You do hear the word Eden being thrown around, and you can roll for history at a difficulty of 40 to know what it is.
I auto succeed, but
Okay. Oh,
I'm 65 tonight.
that's nice. Yeah. So it's Eden is the international sport of Gaia. It's not very well developed in the eastern lands that Soji seems to come from. It's more well known in the Empire of Abel, and you know that some people it's one of the rare places where people are okay with some supernatural powers being used by the most competitive players, as long to help them win. But it can be a very dangerous game at times, especially if Ki
Very
gets
un-
involved.
yeah, very understandably.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna pass the coin to Lethophage. Letho.
Leafophage. Okay. So Leafophage comes out of your body, and
I'm
uh,
gonna send him away from me a little bit, like probably about 2 feet away from me,
mhm.
and then I'm gonna start walking off as he flips it in.
Okay. Um, you uh, Professor Zenobius stops his talk, and you don't know with Soji, and you don't know if it's because he sees the coin coming towards him, or if he sees, or if he's like able to detect spirits. But
Okay.
yeah, he pauses and um, Leafophage. Can you make an attack check with Leafophage? I believe he's going to be at a minus 30 because he is yeah, he's going to be at a minus 30 for that check.
Who's
Because
gonna
it's
be at -30?
Yeah, because it's not a weapon that he has mastery over. The only weapon he has mastery over is his uh, information overload attack.
Gotcha. 96.
96. Right. The coin. All right. So just give 1 second to. I believe he. I have to look up his magical
You
protection.
would be surprised.
No, he saw the coin. He saw it coming, as I mentioned. He does have a small penalty if he doesn't see it, but okay. Is it? Mm, hold on 1 second. Okay. Uh, yes, here it is. Do I have? Uh, 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 uh. And it can see both psychic powers and spiritual beings, so it can see it. And he has a projection
But
of
he does forget it, though, right? Every time?
um he forgets what he looks like and where he is, but he is able to see the outline just like you are, because you're able to see supernatural creatures.
Okay.
That's one of the problems with invisibility, is that some people is that being able to see spiritual beings allows you to uh, uh, detect beings. And it's like Leaf of Age also still makes noises, and he also still smells and stuff like this. So he's still technically detectable, just invisible.
Okay.
To make you
So
know.
but it's also a mental thing.
Mm,
So
No,
it's like,
um, but yeah, like don't. Okay, wait. Give me one
for
second.
example, the only reason I can keep track of him is because he's my familiar.
No, you're also able to.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's 10. Wait. Yeah, that's what I thought. He is technically a mastering bird.
Jesus. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's a level 8 creature. Yeah, the coin just stops in midair, and you can see with your supernatural eye, with your third eye, it's Zenobius just cast a shield made out of darkness. And he's gonna say, "How amusing."
I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna say, I wanted to give you a tip for the great class today as I walk off.
I
And
have
then,
I have no need of physical wealth, but thank you. And he's gonna like take the coin and um Baron, like as soon as you threw the coin, like Baroness was like taking a couple of steps away from you. Um and Zenobius, as you're heading out, Zenobius from his like echoey voice says, "You should probably not do everything that Mrs. Queen suggests to you. She's trouble." And you can hear
she is entertainment.
and you can hear Baroness just laughing. Um, okay, you have about you have about half an hour before your next class. What do you do?
I'm going to go to my room and I'm going to think about the Deva book, the book that was written in Deva.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just gonna try to remember it more. and try to figure out what it was and what it meant. Because, you know, I know regular objects can't be summoned, so there's no point in trying that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, 1 second.
should I roll a memorize to try to break through?
Yeah. Go ahead. It's the.
113.
I hope it doesn't crash like last time. Wait, no. Oh, why does it keep give me 1 second? 113. So yeah, you're going to be able to remember it. I'm just yeah. You start to remember there was this one weird book that this one grimoire that your parents didn't really want you to touch ever, but it seemed like the one time that you you know opened it, the lock just came off all by itself, and you were able to read it, and the book seemed to all by itself, you know, bind itself to you. And
Should
you,
I now? Put in the increases?
hmm? Oh
Should I
yeah,
put in the increases now?
put them in temporary
Gotcha. I figured.
modifiers. But yeah, you can input them. Uh, t- 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 what do what what modifiers can you
5 accumulation, 5 projection, 15 to all summoning skills, and
um
then it's a 25. It's 100 Xeon. What's it called? 100 Xeon container, and then notion of use 5, 4, 5,
yeah
and then
you
incantations,
you you
rituals,
you have
creatures.
you have some powers that you don't know what the artifact does in some cases.
Mhm.
I'm
Does it already come equipped with the 100 Xeon? Because I'm sure I would have dumped Xeon in it already and had it
yeah,
on the
it
key.
already has some Xeon going for it. I'm trying to find the language of the divas, and it's not in the dead languages. I just want to know what it is. It's the Duxaris language. Okay. Uh, okay, hold on. Huh. It would seem that the books don't list any languages for specific to the divas, so it's going to be just one of the ancient languages, and
Well,
uh,
it's already in the book. It's already in the language of Deva. Actually, the only other Deva uh, grimoire is actually just says Deva language.
yeah, yeah, we're just gonna call it the diva language. It's just like yeah, there's a list of languages in the book for the lore Gaia, and yeah, they don't say anything about that. Okay, cool. Um, okay, what? Yeah, in the privacy of your room, you hear a voice echoing that says, "Well, what are you waiting for? Uh, you have some time. You should be trying to get into the core instead of just hanging out in your room. Come on, boy. I don't have all day." And you can feel this sort of like light tapping at the back of your boot, but made by something sharp that leaves a small hole and a drop of blood there.
Awesome.
So, what do you do?
Hmm. I go to my next quest.
Okay. Um.
Fucking can't believe that I'm gonna find the fucking way to the core in like an hour.
Hmm?
The
What?
guy.
What do you mean, the guy?
Literally, yeah, the guy that's fucking stalking me. It's
Yeah.
been like an hour and he's like, you're supposed to find the way to the core.
Yeah.
It's been an hour, dude. Like,
Um. Right. I think. Yeah. You're going to have a class with Professor Iscariot.
ooh,
Um. So you make your way to the uh, alchemy class, which is like this is what it looks like. Um,
is
and
there a
mhm.
cult level? Is
What?
there a cult level?
Yeah, that basically it allows you to raise through this class you can learn any of the skills that are that are explained in Prometheum Makes Sense. Um,
Okay.
so it's
Are you going to be allowing the building?
oh
No.
yeah. You can
Yeah?
yeah, absolutely. You can create artifacts in this class. That's what this class is made for. Like you want to get yourself familiar, you can do that in like a new familiar or new creatures. You can do that in Professor Bacon's house class. And you want to create artifacts. If you have the skills to do it, you can do that uh, in Professor Iscariot's class. I'm basically this. Uh, uh, with this game, we're going to explore a lot of the possibilities of different powers available in this game, and your character is likely to become very, very powerful.
Okay.
So you already have points in occult, which is
Yep.
one of the four skills that can be used. But if
It's
you
actually the one that can go the furthest, isn't it?
no, alchemy is.
Alchemy. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, Alchemy is the only one of the skills that can produce a an artifact of a power level of 5, which is
The
like
highest.
yeah. Occultism, runes, and animism are limited to level 4 artifacts, and even then you still have to roll pretty high. Occultism, because it's useful in so many other um, what's it called?
It's
Because
the
it's
highest.
yeah, it's the one that's that has the highest difficulties to create even simple objects. Basically, when you arrive, so yeah, you arrive in this class, and the people who are going to be there, Angela is going to be there. Um, you're going to arrive slightly late. So Angela, she's already working. She seems to be trying to create an artifact with um, that's made out of flesh. She has basically slabs of meat, and it seems she's using her magic to like massage the meat, and it transforms it very like and it slowly transforms it magically. Gremlin is going to be there. Uh, let's see. Baroness has she has magic, so yeah, Baroness is going to be there. She is working on she's carving runes into coins at the at the moment, and she does not seem like she's doing very well. Clarice is not going to be there. The reason I don't that I'm not talking too much about Clarice is because she's a Donjini, and they and they like their racial powers makes you forget them. So
Okay,
um,
gotcha. Uh-huh.
you're going to see her every now and then from a distance, but she's a very discreet character. She doesn't interact with a lot of people, and people forget her and details of about her very easily. Um, let's see. Carmina has light magic. She is working on a black cloak, and she's working with Lorena. Basically, they're working together on making a black and silver cloak.
Mhm.
Um, Morse is also going to be present. He's making aviator glasses. Um, and he seems to be using occult for that.
Okay.
Uh, t- 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 um, uh, Icarus. Oh, okay. So, and the last two who are present in this class are going to be Sarah, who is she is basically working on what looks to be a book cover, and she's using like runes to do it. And Icarus, he uh, he he's using what looks like technology, uh, uh, and like basically he's tinkering a gun. Uh,
Gotcha.
you arrive and you are greeted by this statue who says, uh, "You're late. I don't tolerate lateness in my class."
My apologies. I was dealing with something.
You're Mr. Onota, correct?
I nod.
Your father was always late to my classes as well. I hope that in the future you take more after your mother. Do you have any
Seeing as how I can't remember them, I can't take after either.
uh, biological beings such as yourselves still have uh, traits from their parents inside of their coding? You have you have the black of your father's hair and other traits like this. Anyways, everyone is working on their own projects. We do take a lot of time preparing our objects and training. You'll have to start working on your own object. I'll help you decide something that you want to make and the method you want to make it with, and provide you with the books um, to help you with this. What what do you wish to create?
Glasses?
Glasses.
I nod.
What for?
Seeing more than what I can see. Plus, it would be able to hold things.
Mm, all right. You see him moving to one of the books. He starts to like flip through them, and like when he moves, there's this. It sounds a little bit like a small avalanche because he's made completely out of animated stone.
Hmm.
Okay, in 1 second, there is an artifact that is almost exactly what you describe.
Basically, I was looking for seeing Scion
Yeah.
and key and increasing the presence on the item
Okay.
with a potential of increasing summoning capabilities.
There are okay. You yeah. The Professor Iscariot opens the book up and he says, "Here, soul shards." He points to it and he says, "These are they're a rare type of indigo stone that are found in places where monumental supernatural forces have been unleashed. Fights like the ones that well." People like the person I that my image is based on, Rai Iscariot, places where they fought always have soul shards. They can be carved into the shape of spectacles, hold creatures, and usually they're only used to see spirits. But you might be able to modify them uh, to have the power you are looking for. And um, he uh, he's going to turn to Sarah, and he says, "Miss Brown, uh, uh, I believe one of your books had something to say about soul shards and spectacles. Share with your uh, classmate." And Sarah, she looks to be the oldest one in class 1A. She gets up, and you can see her, she like one of the books that she has an illustration um, of a man in armor with dragons appearing around him, and she starts to flip through it until she reaches page um, 36, and she shows it to you. It's just a description of soul shards and how they can be made into spectacles, and like it doesn't have any instructions, but it details what it does exactly in a very strange. But it's not in a language that you know. Basically, she has to uh, read it to you to give you an idea of what you're going to do. And Professor Iscariot brings you an indigo stone back, and some tools to carve it in the shape of classes. And yeah, you're gonna get the opportunity to get started. Uh, um, Basically, yeah, you're going to get a little bit of help from uh, Sarah during the at least at the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you do, basically?
I work as hard as I can.
Okay. Do you try do you want to try to do it in just this class? It's going to be 2 hours.
God no.
No? All right.
God no.
You can write on your uh, what you're trying to do is just a level 2 artifact. Um, and so for you it's going to require a roll of let me just give you some of the modifiers. Um, Level 2 is a difficulty in occultism of 240. If you spend a week on it, your modifier for time will be 0. Um, and uh, yeah, you're going to have a couple of uh, modifiers as well because you want more than one powers, and you do have um, advanced equipment which gives you a plus 40. So yeah, you can write down you've already worked on it several hours somewhere on your character sheet.
Can you give me a note?
Uh,
Notepad?
sure. Uh, you can
Awesome.
edit it. So you're trying to make uh, soul shards, soul shard spectacles, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you start carving up that stone and like looking up how to create them. Do you um, yeah, during the entire time, like uh, Sarah is also like you every now and then going to come back and like uh, have a look at what you're doing and like uh, nodding and saying yeah that should be good. And Professor Iscariot is going to he's going to come back every now and then, but he doesn't give you any compliments. He just observes what you're doing and then moves on to another student. Um, but he does answer questions. So after a couple of hours of this, it's night time, and it's time to go back to the mess hall for everybody to eat, and afterwards it's going to be curfew time. So you're making your way out of Professor Iscariot's class. What do you do?
I eat, go to my room, start studying my grimoire.
Okay. Um, the before you can go to the mess hall, a voice is telling you, everybody. I overheard the students. Everybody says they're heading to they're heading to get food right now. Probably also the teachers. Perfect time to go to the core. Come on, let's do it now.
Couldn't be bothered.
Um, right. Uh, yeah. Gotta.
Huh.
Can you roll for defense for me, please?
Why do I feel like I'm gonna die?
Oh,
120.
120. What are you using to defend?
Dodge.
Dodge? Okay. Oh, how many points do you have in dodge?
What about?
Hmm?
A bit 110. 110.
Okay. Uh,
20.
right. You yeah. So basically, yeah, based on what you got, I think like you're getting attacked from the back, and you might not be surprised, but you at least have the penalty from like
I
being.
kn-
Hmm?
well, the thing about it is, I know that the attacks can come from behind, and in fact, he likes to come from. He likes to attack from behind me. He's a coward like that.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still behind you when he does attack. Yeah, so you only have a score of 30, and I pass this just with my attack, as long as I don't
Oh.
roll a 1. Um, okay.
You're not.
No, I open roll. All right.
Oh.
So you feel something hitting you from behind, and it's a spell. You're pretty sure of it. You start to feel horrible. You start to feel all of those extremely negative emotions, fear and confusion and stuff, and like intense
Can I?
pain.
Can I try to
Oh,
counter spell?
you can roll magic resistance to try to
That's
resist it. It's a
that's what I'm good at.
all right. Oh, you were 10 points away from
Are
uh
you fucking kidding
yeah.
me? My first roll was a 10. My second roll was a fucking 15.
Yeah, that's not very lucky. But basically, like, yeah, it's this intense, like, it's this mixture of pain, fear, and a bunch of other negative emotions, rage, like, mixed in together. Um, and it's like a torture spell, basically. You feel horrible for a couple of seconds, and then the voice says, uh, 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 I can do this as many times as I need, boy. And you
Survive it
realize
as I
that you're
want.
like kneeling on your that you're like kneeling in the middle of one of the corridors uh,
Mhm.
when this happens. So, what do you do?
I'm gonna. Are there any teachers nearby?
No, you were. He waited specifically until you were alone in one of the corridors to do that.
Hmm. I'm debating trying to just teleport myself to the headmaster, but that seems like that'd be a bit extreme and probably make me pass the fuck out.
Oh yeah, you could like a teleportation spell might not be within your grasp right now, but you could, and you'd need to accumulate magic. And if
Hmm.
the creature can see you accumulating magic right after it attacked you, it might feel threatened and actually attack you again. This time in a more deadly way. So it's up to you. Um, also,
Well, I
you
mean,
you.
I
Mhm.
could instantaneously do it.
Yeah, but the roll might be hard. You also
Okay.
another tool that you have, if the creature is supernatural in nature, you could use your summoning powers. That's also another option.
That is a good point, but I don't know anything about it. And I don't want to waste the Xeon because even if you try to control something in it,
If it's
is
if it's a creature that can't be controlled, you don't waste any of your
really.
Xeon attempting it. Yeah.
Oh, thank fucking. And what if you summon something that doesn't exist?
Hmm?
What if you summon something that doesn't exist?
Then
It's
you
a
don't
long
then
story.
you don't summon anything, or you summon a creature of the void, one or the
Do you
other.
waste the Xeon?
Huh?
Do you waste the Xeon?
If nothing appears, no, you don't.
God. Alright. I'm gonna use control
Okay.
and see how lucky I can get.
All right. You have a penalty.
Oh, you're
Um,
right. How
you have a
much?
penalty for time. If you're trying to be very
Uh,
discreet about this, like Leafophage is suggesting, you would
mhm.
have to do it immediately, in which case it wouldn't be noticeable by the creature even if you fail. But that would be an immediate modifier, which is a minus 100, or a complete
With
turn, which is a minus 50. But then you'd have to do some incantation, which is much more noticeable.
with a minus 100, I'm not gonna get him. Period. Because I know he's not like a fucking level 3. No, fuck. Dude, with control, with that, I wouldn't even be able to control level 1, level 0, if unless I was being really lucky.
How much control do you have?
235. Like,
Two.
I have good
Yeah.
control, but with a minus 100, it's still shit.
Yes. There are other modifiers. If you are able to observe it, you could know its name and get a plus 20. And if
It hides
you.
in the shadows.
Yep. But it does seem to come out every now and then when it's talking to you. It's just that it's always behind you.
Mm-hmm. Like a fucking gun. Alright, so literally no option for me because fuck. Okay, so then I'm going to the mess hall.
Hold on
Fuck
one
this
second.
gun.
If you um, if you take a complete turn, it's a minus 50, which would bring you to how much?
To 180-ish?
180.
185?
Yep. It's
185 would be able to auto succeed as level 0.
yep.
200 is level 1. 220 is level 2. 240 is level 3.
Yep.
So
Um,
realistically, if it's on my level,
mhm.
then I would have to get
60. 55, 55 or more to succeed. If
Yeah.
I that is
Based off
assuming
of
I'm
this.
not that is assuming that I'm not a complete asshole and I only put a creature that is about your level in your first encounter, and
Yeah.
that is up for debate by a lot of players whether or not I am uh, uh, that sort of game master or not. So.
I just hate creatures like this.
Mhm. They're not going to be as common. Like it's not there's not going to be like a creature like this like all of the time. It's just the first thing you're encountering. So what do you
Well,
do?
yeah, I assume. Screw it, right? Minus 50, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, 242.
Uh, you rolled
So,
57. You rolled 2 points higher than what you needed to pass this check, because it is a level 3. But that means you take an entire turn to do this. So you do make an incantation, and then you turn around towards your the shadow. Well, and then like yeah, you try to seize control of it, and um, what does it look like? What does your ritual for using your summon skills look like? Is it a dance, a chant? Um, is it yeah? What sort of what does it look
it's kind of like a chant.
like?
More so a chant.
Okay.
Um, Trying to think of what it'd be comparable to, but I can't think of any summoners right now
Okay.
off the top of my head.
So you chant in the diva's language, and then you turn around, and you're pretty sure that your power is able to uh, uh, like take control of the creature. And for a second there, you think you've got it, and then you
Oh, wait,
realize hmm?
I can bind in the same action.
uh, that just give me 1 second, and before you can do anything though, it like
Well, if it's the same action, then I can't react to it.
yeah, but uh, just let me describe. Don't worry about this. Um, it it says, "Nice try. You almost got me, but that's not going to
Oh,
work." And there's uh, you realize it should have worked, and it says, "I'm a familiar." uh, that's the only reason that I was able to pass through the shield and keep going with my mission, because despite forgetting everything, my master is still controlling me and giving me orders from very far. Now, I'm let's stop joking around, kid. Next time try something like this. Mm. Um,
awesome.
we're going to the core right now. What do you do?
The fuck we're not.
Okay. Um,
And I'm gonna bring out
leaf of age.
Leaf.
Okay. Um, yeah, you start to bring out leaf of age, and something else happens. You see, like
Okay,
headmistress is.
question. Am I
Yes.
literally going to be forced to the core?
No. You.
Okay, because this is what it feels like.
Don't worry. You see Professor Cho and Headmistress Assad both appear out of uh, like just appear, and um, you're going to see basically like the uh, what's it called? Headmistress Assange is going to like reach into your shadow and pull out the creature with it, which is a shadow. One of the creatures from the core rulebook. This is what it looks like.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
and uh, and she turns to you and says, "Thank you very much. you can get your memories back now, and you remember something. You remember when you were in the headmistress's office and suddenly you were outside? I did
Suddenly
tell
what?
you you were in the headmistress's office and suddenly you were outside, as if you had been, as if you
Oh yeah.
simply, uh, you don't
Was that
remember leaving.
teleported out?
You weren't. You walked
Well,
out.
yeah.
It's just that some of your memories were erased. Um,
Hmm.
so we're gonna like go back to that scene and play that now. Uh, the
All right.
headmistress says, uh, "Listen, kids, you. It's very likely that the creature uh, piggybacked on you to get through the shield, and it's likely it will try to do so again. So I'm considering using you as bait. You don't have to worry. I can make myself invisible to everyone except the strongest psychics. And I don't believe that I wouldn't have been able to detect that creature coming through the shield if it was a powerful psychic. So I'll be there protecting you. All that we just need to learn as much about the creature as possible before it hurts you. But it could be able to read minds, so I am going to have to make you forget about this. You told me you trusted me, and I've told you my plan. So now whatever happens, whether you agree or not, I'm gonna have to erase your memories of it. But are you okay with that?
As I said, I do not trust you, but I do not distrust you. So, if it is something that can harm me, then I may as well take assistance.
All right. This is the most likely way we'll have of catching it. None of the uh, n- uh, none of the spells to locate it that I've used have worked until now. So I believe it could be protected by strong magics against its detection. One of the what if my theory is correct, it could be someone's familiar, and if it is, well, we will be in luck. So I expect that at some point you might try to control it, even with your memories erased. And if you do this and it doesn't work, we'll know for sure. All right, you can go out now. Don't worry, I'll erase your memories in a couple of seconds. And yeah, that's the end of your flashback.
Awesome.
So the creature starts to uh, you know yell and scream and try to get out of the headmistress's grasp, but she has like shields, psychic shields, and basically protects everyone from the creature and from the spells that are coming out of the creature. And she starts to like drag it behind her, and she says, "Come, we are going to get the Hammer of Doom." And she takes you to this. She takes you basically towards the core, opens one of the doors by like reciting a password. You can roll memorize later down the line to remember this password. And
Do you
uh,
want me to do it now, or
hmm?
do you want me to do it now, or
Yep, you can do it now. It's going to be difficulty 180 because it is a long password. So
any modifiers?
nope, just the difficulty of 180.
No,
No, all right, you don't
I rolled like
remember.
shit.
Yeah, that happens. Um, but with your
I mean, I
score, without your ability to
actually
enroll
hold
it,
on.
you wouldn't have been able to do
Oh
it.
yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it
Yeah.
anyways.
Um, so yeah, uh, you go deeper into the core of of the school. You're taken like through corridors that have all of this techno magic uh, on it, and you are going to reach this room that has a table at its center with multiple manacles to hold things in, and Professor Assange levitates the shadow and you know uh, uh, imprisons it
Shackles it
there.
down.
Yeah,
Oh,
and right above it, there's this huge um, piece of equipment that looks like a gigantic lance or an inverted rocket that is above the table, and um, the headmistress says, "We developed this thing a while back. It's uh, it's the most destructive weapon in existence, but it's really hard to wield. Only ever hits people who are not moving. The reason we developed it is because uh, familiars, well, when they die, if the blow that felled them is powerful enough, it can also kill the uh, the mage the summoner that it is bound to. So now we're going to execute both the creature and the summoner, and you see the creature yelling, "No, no, don't you dare!" Um, my master says
God.
that if you do this, we will storm your school. You'll never hear the end of it. The order of Yehuda will rise once and for all and crush this university. The,
Oh,
uh,
it's the rival school.
it's not a school, but it is a rival order. The
Okay.
uh, but yeah, the headmistress says, "Oh, good. Now we know for sure who our enemies are. We tell us. I might spare you if you tell me which of the things that is in the core that you were looking for. Can't be the hammer. We not a lot of people who know about this ever live to tell the tale, and uh, the shadow just falls silent and says, "Do you swear? My master is asking, do you swear if you will let me live if I tell you?" And Headmistress Isar says, "Of course. This way we'll have a better idea of what we need to defend." And Professor Cho here is able to read minds, so he'll be able to tell if you are lying or not. And there's a pause, and the shadow says, "We know you got one of the 30 black pieces. That's what we're going. And we're going to take it from you. But please, my master's been very cooperative. Spare us." And Asar says, "Thank you. You can go now." Um, and she lowers a lever, and you can see the hammer of doom just falling. And she finishes her sentence by saying, "To hell." And the
Mm.
the techno magical weapon just comes crashing into the shadow, and in a scream of agony, it is gone. It is exploded. The Sash turns to you and says, "Thank you for your cooperation, Darius. You did well."
I know. And there was one other entity in here, wasn't there?
There was. We haven't captured it, but uh, I don't think that it's. Oh yeah, technically there wasn't. We sort of retconned this with one of the things that we did today, and there were only three entities that passed the shield. So I'm sorry.
Oh,
Based on something we did, it was only three. So she says, "You're safe now." this school is quite safe. Your parents did the right thing sending you here, and hopefully soon you'll remember they why they decided to send you and what dangers they were in. But if the
I'm
shadow was
safe.
teleported as well, it means your parents might have been attacked by the Order of Yehuda. We'll.
I'm
Hmm?
safe in a school that's going to have a war.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to win.
Oh, I have no doubt. However, there will still be casualties nonetheless.
She leans over and she says, I take the safety of my students to heart. I promise you. If there are any casualties, it won't be with the students. It
I
won't be
nod.
you. I'll put
Then
my.
teach me.
Hmm?
Then teach me. I'll be an agent of war as well, because I would be interested in a little bit of a revenge.
Good.
I know that diva aren't very keen on getting emotions mixed in. However, it does seem logical. They've attacked my family and myself twice now, supposedly.
All right. I'll get you the revenge that you want. And maybe you'll help me get mine as well. Now,
I nod.
you shouldn't. You, you shouldn't be in this part of the school. Professor Cho will take you back. And uh, Professor Cho asks, "Is it?" Professor Cho is going to say, "All right, it's better if you don't know what it is that we're keeping here. I'm gonna, uh, for your own safety, I'm gonna erase that from your memory." But Professor Cho doesn't erase it from Leafophage's memory because Professor Cho doesn't. Uh, oh no, yeah, he is aware of it, but he's going to forget. So you are going to retain the information that the Order of Yehuda is after something called one of the 30 pieces. And I think now would be a good time to end this first scenario, because this first game. Make it a shorter game because the FOB is going to be joining the next game session, and I think now is a good time to wrap up this first session. We have a good idea of the school, the staff, people like this. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, perfect.
I was worried about how, railroad that was, because it really didn't seem like I had anything to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh, there are like apart from the classes that are going to be on a somewhat fixed schedule, you're going to have like a lot of opportunities to break the rules and do like other stuff and even like go out of the school. It's going to be like there's going to be a lot of uh, uh, there's going to be more of an adventure feel to it. It's just right now it's like
oh yeah,
presenting the setting and letting presenting the different characters that are available.
of course.
Um, but yeah, we can talk about this during the between the games and see how we want this to like change things.
Mhm.
Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload the next episode of this story. And it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day everyone.